Namaskar, everybody, to another episode of the Quality Education. And like every other episode, Mr. Kamal Goda takes lots of efforts to just invite all of us for some exchange of knowledge at Southeast Asian countries level. And we invite you people to participate and listen to the new knowledge which is coming each and every day to us. And this time, that is the 2021, and now it is 2026. This time was going very fast in the sense that the new methods of teaching and learning and the inclusion of AI into education, and also, as Nathia ma'am, she's going to talk about the inclusive education, which is a welcome change for the education world, because before this, we were not including the special children or maybe the mentally, some if autistic type of children. And we are just including them in our classrooms so that the students, those who are sitting with them, they will learn that how they are going to handle them in future or to interact with these people, special people, together when they grow up and in this world, I should say. So now I invite Nathia ma'am to start today's wonderful lecture. It is going to be, I know that, and I will like to know much more about it. It is more than education. It is touching, the hearts of the people, that how the educators from, not only India, but from Sri Lanka and from other Southeast Asian countries are, working so much. They are giving their so much of time so that we can know what is happening in the inclusive classrooms. So, Nathia madam, I just hand over
Yes,
the
ma'am.
session to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's my pleasure and honor, welcomed by the great Rashmi, ma'am, for the class. I'm very happy and enriched to deliver the content to the Sri Lanka. So I always have the urge to share something special to the teachers, those who are deserved to know about what is happening in the world and update themselves. So as soon as I updated my school and I have given the training to my own teachers, then I had a thought of why we missed the Sri Lankan teachers. We have to let them aware of the sense to them. So I have planned this session and I had requested Janaka sir to, if it's possible, maybe I can address the teachers so that they can know how to get to know who is SLD and how can we help those children. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity. So I'll value this time and I ensure it's most valuable and informative to all the teachers. Thank you, Rashmita. Namaste. Today we are discussing about the topic specific learning disability. So what is specific learning disability and how can we ensure we can check the children are having that disability? So I would like to introduce myself. As you already know, I am Nathya Jain from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, working as an headmistress at Sri Anand Jain Vidyalaya, Vestambaram, Chennai. And I'm running a school also. I founded at Gyms International, that is a Montessori. Thank you. Yes. So what is SLD? Before we are going to the topic, I would like to ask about do you think which part of our human body is meant to know about learning. So, which is the most important part of our body for the human being, for the children. So, which is important to learn the process, attract, observe. Can anyone tell? Just leave the message. That is brain. So, brain is the important part. Brain is the important part. All the five sense, yeah, world of wonders. Okay, thank you. I know the all the five senses are important for learning process, but the utmost important organ is brain. So the brain is the how the children attain the age from the birth, maybe the prenatal birth. It the brain has to grow. Okay, it attains until the age 5 or 6. It keeps on growing. So there is some development. It has to be done on the specific time phase. So nothing but the SLDs, the specific learning disabilities. Those are the neurological conditions that affect a person's ability to acquire, process, or retain the information. These processing difficulties can interfere with the children in some learning things. For example, reading, writing, or doing math calculation, recalling things. So those are the some of the things the SLD can affect. So we move on to next. So what is understanding SLD? So this is the definition of the SLD. This is an official definition. The SLD is a neurological based learning difference that affects how a student receives, process, stores, or responds to the key informations. So the SLD impacts the reading, writing, math, and not overall intelligence. So those kids are very normal to us. They can eat, walk, and there is no difference you can't identify. Okay, they look so normal, but they have that speech delay at the age of 3. There is a developmental delay in their walking or traveling or anything. So they started their speech very delay, and they have the problem in balancing. They keep on falling when they walk. So they have some problems in physical, but not a serious conditions. Okay, it can't be visible, but it can be diagnosed. So what are the common areas affected by the SLD? The first thing is reading. So word, they can't read the word, the fluency, the comprehension, everything you can see. Out of how many children are there in the class? For example, maybe 20 to 25 children in your class. So maybe in 20 to 25, how many children are okay with the reading process and writing process effectively? You mean, can you categorize the children? I mean, not labeling. You don't have to label. All of them have their own phase to learn in their own timing. But the thing is, we have to understand how the child is processing the information. So if, for example, in your class, if there are 20 or 25 children, you can categorize the 2 to 3 categories. Those are excellent IQ. Okay, they have the pre-existing knowledge of what you are teaching. And there is in another category, they can observe and learn what you are teaching, and they can process in their mind the content, and they have the ability to recall, and they have the excellent intelligent about the comprehend the content. So another category, that is the third category, they know the head. They keenly watching you and also the board, but they are labeled as slow learners or average children. They are struggling to read. They are scoring very low marks in examinations. They are good in oral but not good in writing. They are too good in the English literature or English science, but they are very poor in math calculations. Have you came across this kind of children? I just want only one yes or no something. Right? So there is some children, those who are having those difficulties. Okay, those difficulties. So these kind of childrens you may see very much affected in the teaching learning process. So they hide the things, whether they know the content. They can't see the text in the blackboard. They are very slow in copying the content from blackboard to the notebook. They know how to read, but they can't openly disclose the content to you. And they know how to read it orally, but they are struggling to write it in the examination and also in the notebooks. So there are some children. Yeah, slides are changing. Is the slide is visible or is it changing?
Yeah, visible. Visible. You can continue.
Visible. Okay, okay. Because I received the message. Yes. You can identify those children. Right now, we have identified those children. Okay, we'll talk later. We have the equipment, and we have how to diagnose those children and all. I'll tell one by one in the coming slides. But those slow learners, those average learners, or we are hardly put effort to team up with the children and giving lot of homeworks and giving lot of assessments and sending them to tuition. But we have to know one thing, that is the child is having, because those children are affected by this SLD process. There is some neuroplasticity in our body from brain. There is 1,000 million billion neurons are in our human body. They are connected with one another. So from, if you keep on doing one activity, this neurons gets connected effectively and the neuroplasticity works. If the action is not repeated and there is no repetition in the work, the neuroplasticity not working, it fades away. The neuron connections will fade away in the children. That's why we are giving the activities keep on. So how the children learn the language from mother tongue? Do you know how they learn the mother tongue quickly without going to school? Any idea? How the children learn Sri Lankan language effectively, other than Tamil and English? You have any idea? It's a mother tongue. Okay, that's a common. But how the mother tongue the child can learn? Have you think about it? Hearing it often. Only hearing is enough. Only hearing is enough, you think? If you tell the child to bring the ball, is the child able to bring the ball quickly? How the child know what is meant by bring and what is meant by ball from the mother? So how the language accepted by kid? How the kid quickly learn that mother tongue? You have any idea? Because the mother is initially orally telling the instruction with the actions. We are telling come with the waving. We are initially. So the child connecting the dots of the action and the verbal and process it in the brain. So that's how the mother tongue is easily adapted. So that's how the children are fluent in the mother tongue talking. So we can use the same for the English or any other language. But say if the child can enable to speak fluently in the mother tongue, the child can speak any language fluently. So that's how the children can learn the language from the mother through the actions and also the verbal. So they have that neuroplasticity of connecting the dots of action with the verbal. So that's how we have to teach the children the new things. So that is one part. Now we are coming to the point of slow learners and average children. So we have 10 to 15 children in each class. So they are scoring low marks. So you have to diagnose these children. Are they difficulty in reading alone, writing alone, or they are excellent in reading and writing, only they are struggling in writing the test, or they know how to comprehend. The comprehend is missing. So you have to just filter it out the slow learners, those average learners. Okay, that is the first point. After you filter those children, so this is the concept of understanding. I think you have got the point of what is specific learning disabilities. So these children affected only in reading, writing, and math. Where they affect, its word reading fluency and comprehension is missing. In writing, there is lot of spelling mistake. The handwriting is so bad, scribbling and sentence and paragraph construction is struggling. They can't even keep the bag or any things organized. For the math, they don't have the number sense. They can't do the calculations. They can't memorize the tables. The rote memory is also poor. They are struggling to recall the things. So those are the things of SLD symptoms. The next, what are the SLD profiles? What are the types of SLD? What are the types of? Okay, we are categorized the slow learners and average learners into 10 to 15. So how can I categorize those children? Those who are struggling in reading, he is struggling in writing, and he is struggling in math calculation. Are they all having the learning disability? Yes, of course. There is a scientific name for all disabilities, and the government is also giving some concessions in writing examinations for those children in worldwide. This was authorized by World Education. So what is dyslexia? The children who are difficult in reading are known as dyslexia. We can call the people as dyslexic kids. There is a terminology, dyslexic. So you don't worry, the major celebrities, even the Amitabh Bachchan at the Bollywood has openly tell he is a dyslexic. You know, Bill Gates is dyslexic. So those children are identified early, and we can modify the lesson plan to helping those children, those who are affected with reading disabilities. So the children who are having the disability and having difficulty in reading are called as dyslexia. And those who are struggling with writing, handwriting, scribbling writing, we couldn't interpret what the child has written in the notebook. So those conditions are called as dysgraphia. And the children who are struggling with math calculations, additions, subtractions, and any memorizing things, so those children are called as dyscalculia. There is a dyspraxia. It is a development coordination disorder. You know, the part of the thing in our human body, if we bend and touch the foot is good. Why? Have you just googled it, why it's too good? And if you are touching from right hand to left hand, and this right to left, why? Because in our human body, this is the midline, and this is the midline. So you have to do the exercises to cross the midline. Then only you can get the balance. You may not fall. Okay, so those conditions, there is a disorder in those children. They will walk and they immediately fall. They suddenly fall. Okay, so that coordination thing is very slow and very poor in children. That is called as dyspraxia. And there is a developmental aphasia. It's not that much acceptable, and that is not that much popular in our children, but there is a terminology you should know, that is developmental aphasia. It is a developmental language disorder. They know what is the language. If you have spoken, if you're giving any order, they know what you are telling, but they are difficulty in processing the language and to say it out loud. They couldn't process it. They know from the brain wise, they know what you are talking and they understood what you're, but they can't process and discuss the same. So those children and those condition is called as developmental aphasia. So these are the types of SLD in the children. After the diagnosis, we can get to know. These are not a medical conditions. The child are very good in physics. The child are healthy. The child can communicate with parents, with society. They can do all the things. But these conditions are only categorized in learning sector. I mean, in the education sector. This dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia, everything comes in the education part, not in society or life skills. They are very common in the life skills. So you don't mingle this with the society life skills. The condition is true. We can't cure the dyslexic. We can't cure the dysgraphia, but we can improve those conditions. We can teach the children how to adapt it with this condition and live peacefully and happily. So those are the things we, the special educators, can do it, and we can design and deliver to the teachers and also to the parents. So is it clear till now? Is there any doubt or is it clear?
I really understood very well. And
Thank you so much.
slides are speaking on their own. At the same time, you are explaining very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Then I can move to next slide.
Sure, please move to the next.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So there are some signs you can identify those children. There are, I'm giving some indicators for you. It's a simple indicator. In short, I'm giving. Those indicators will be helpful for the teachers to identify who are the children difficulties in reading, who are them are very much difficult in writing, those children who are in math. So there is some simple signs. I'm just telling you as a tip. Maybe you can note it down or screenshot it or take a photo. So the children who are slow and effortful reading and they avoiding reading aloud and they guesses the words and they have weak in phonics and difficulty in following written directions. So those children are having difficulty in reading. For writing, the signs are messy. The handwriting would be too messy and it would be slow handwriting. They'll copy the board too slow. You have finished it off and the period ends. All the other children have copied the notebook, the classwork, but those children have struggling in second line itself. So slow handwriting and slow board copying and frequent spelling errors and short written. If it is a paragraph and you are orally telling something, but they have written in very short, and they have weak organization and difficulty in copying also. You may see the writing difficulty children have the school bag is too messy. It's not organized. If you ask the math book or a math classwork, they open the bag and they just throw it. All the books and notebooks would be messy. They can't keep the notebooks in good conditions. It would be messy. So those are the some signs for the writing disability children. And what are the math? For math, they are difficulty in recalling math facts. If it is a problem or borrowing addition, so they'll struggling and they struggling in recalling. So they count our fingers beyond expected age, and there is inconsistent procedures. They misread the symbols. They struggle with word problems mainly. Obviously, if the child is struggling in English, those children can't do the word problem, as you very well know. So those children are having the math difficulty. Then cross-cutting indicators. These are like needs, they need repeated direction. If you said you have to go straight and right side, there is a washroom for boys. But every day you have to tell the direction for that kid because he forget the direction. So the poor note taking, the observation is too poor. If you give the instruction, the students will, ma'am, one more time, please, one more time, please, please, one more time. Because they couldn't understand and they can't process and store it in brain. So the next day also they are asking the same instruction. So those are some signatures and signs for that. And slow work pace. They really work slow, from for the assembly, for writing assignment, and for coming to the school. Everything will be late. And strong verbal answers but weak written work. Those children are good in talking. If you ask the question, they will promptly answer. But if you ask them to write it and submit it, it's very weak. They'll struggle it. So these are some of the indicators you can identify those children with the poor SLD. Next. So these are some distinguishing SLD from lack of instructions or other factors. Questions to ask first. As the student had consistent evidence-based instruction in the skill area, or the teachers, we are the teachers. So we have to ask this question first. Are we giving the evidence-based instruction to the children? We are giving the lesson as per the lesson plan. The teacher is delivering the content. Is the content is evidence based? We have to check it. These are some of the checklist. Or their attendance, trauma, stress, sleep, or motivation factors affecting performance? We have to check that also. Okay. And or vision and hearing issues. Some of the children are slow in board copying because they have the eyesight problem. Some of the children not responding to your questions, maybe that was hearing issues. So you have to check with the parents first, physically check if the child is good in vision and also in hearing. And as the student and English learner, so those are difficulties present in both languages. For example, the child is very well versed in Sinhala. So previously you taught everything in Sinhala. So as soon as the child promoted to middle school or fourth standard, the parents forced to put the kid in English medium school. So only Sinhala discourse is not available. Everything is taken in English language. Even the science, EVS, math part, everything in English language. So at the time, the children can't understood the English language because they are good in Sinhala. So those children are not SLD. They have the problem with English language alone. So they are not SLD. You have to identify very keenly. You have to observe all these checklists. And there is red flag for one SLD. Persistently difficult despite targeted. So the high quality instruction and appropriate practice opportunities. So if you couldn't find the SLD children, but you keep on giving the same lecture to all the children, and you are forcing the kid to crack the exam, and you are expecting the children to come up with the get the score the marks and deliver the content as like the normal kid, no, it won't happen. The child would suffer. So these are the some of the checklist. Apart from SLD, you have to check before, right? So if the checklist is you can, if you come with this any checklist is yes, those children are not SLD. So these are some of the helpful tips for teachers, those who are having SLD in the classroom. So make your expectation is explicit. So model, and you should think aloud, and some provide exemplars. And teach in small steps. If it is a very big lesson, you chunk it into a very small objective thing. So you chunk the task and confirm understanding before the independent work. And use frequent checks for understanding. So you should not expect the understanding we can only do it at the end of the formative assessment, end of the term. No, you have to frequently check the feedback, how they understood the content by quick response or small questions and short exit tickets and oral retells. So those are the ways you can check whether they are on the same line with you. And provide guided practice. What is guided practice? I think in my previous session I have explained about it in the I think maybe more than a year. So that is a I do, we do, you do practice. So with a gradual release, you have to take in the lesson. and reteach proactively. Planned review, cumulative practice, and more of the same worksheet you have to give. Sorry, not same worksheet you should give. You should just shuffle it and give for the practice, and use some strength to boost access. There are some oral responses, some visual tickets, and hands-on tools. So some of the auditory learners are there, so you have to customize the things and you give it as an lessons. So what are the don'ts? These are some of the things you shouldn't do as per my recommendation, but it's up to you. You can decide. Don't equate the children. Average children and slow learners, don't label it as an SLD children. And you can't expect the same from all children. Some of them having this SLD couldn't afford the same output as like the normal kid. So you have to understood that. So don't equate slow output with low ability, and avoid public comparisons and timed pressure without support. Okay. Don't use repeated read it again as the main intervention. You have to help the child to decode it. Okay. Then don't overload the memory. They can't process too much of memory. If the attention span is the if the child is having the low attention span, they can take only the short thing, not a very big para and everything. So don't overload working memory, and don't multitasking they can't do. And without support they can't even do two or three multitasking. And copying large number of things from the board to notebook, it's very difficult for them. And don't remove that essential instruction as a consequence. Example, missing intervention time due to behavior. So you are in the initial part, and you are just concentrating on some of the children behavior and skipped that part, and you went to the next part, and those kind of instruction they won't listen. They will out of the blank and just staring you blank. And don't rely only on accommodations. Student typically need instruction plus accommodation. What is accommodations means? If the child is poor in mathematics, the government will give the accommodations as the child can use the calculator. The child is struggling in writing means the child can able to have a scribe, so she can tell the answer, the scribe can writing the answer in the answer sheet. Those are the accommodations from the government. But don't rely only on accommodations. Whether I don't know how the government of Sri Lanka is working about this SLD and accommodations. So these are the something which we are following in Chennai, I mean in India. So what SLD is not, don't confuse with low effort or laziness. Some of the children are super lazy to read and write. So those children are not SLD. So you have to find out who is lazy, who is putting a low effort, and not primarily caused by poor instruction and limited. If the teacher can't deliver the content creatively, effectively with using TLM and getting the proper attention of the children, that is the poor instructions. So it's primarily caused by the poor instruction. That is not the SLD, that is not the child problem. So limited English proficiency. The child is excellent in Sinhala but not in English means those children are healthy and no SLD. They have only problem in English proficiency. And vision and hearing problem or physical thing you have to identify and need to check with parents. Or lack of opportunity. Some of the teachers may continuously calling only the first two bench of students for giving all the opportunities, and the last and middle benches are hiding. So the teacher doesn't want to ask the questions with, that is the lack of opportunity, so the child is not showing up. So those children are not comes under SLD. So these are some of the methodologies we can use. Applicability is applicable for across subjects. So you can take screenshot or photo, so it may be helpful for you in teaching methodology to decide. So direct systematic teaching with clear modeling and guide practice. So clear learning target and success criteria, and teach one skill at a time and sequence from simple to complex. Then model the strategy, use think alouds, guided practice, and independent practice with support. So why it helps SLD? Because it reduces the guessing from the children and increases the accuracy and builds the automaticity through the structured practice. So this is for reading and spelling affected children. It will be useful. So multi-sensory instruction. Those children are good in visual. Some of them are good in auditory. Some of them having the kinesthetic. My friend is used to always tapping on the table or something. It's a habit to do it. Then only she can learn. If you stop the tapping, she may get tensed and confused. So those children are kinesthetic. Okay, the bodily movement, they need to observe the information. And tactile pathways, so the sensory are too good for them, they need some tactile touching to learn it. So you can say it, write it, move it and see it. So those things are very useful for the children to learn the concept from you. And structured literacy elements. Phonemic awareness is must for English, and decoding, spelling encoding, fluency, word of the wall. I have given those tips for the teachers previously. Word wall you can install in the classroom. So 3 words per week you can introduce new words, that vocabulary. So word wall you can install. So the Pictionary memory will be more for the kid if they keep on seeing that. Comprehend, how they comprehend, you have to help them. Practical classroom moves, sound boxes, there is some Elconin boxes. I'll give some examples or send the photos to Janaka to share it. So those are Elconin boxes. And tapping sounds and blending drills, you can do it as a tip for the children, those who are having auditory learning. The word pattern you can teach them, the common syllable times and the morphemes, how to divide the sounds with the syllable. And repeated reading with feedback for fluency. So more reading alone is not enough when decoding is the core behavior. So you have to assure the children how they learn. And these are for writing support, comprehend, composition, spelling and output. So you have to reduce the load by building skills. So provide graphic organizers. Graphic organizers are nothing but a tool which can help the children to write sentence frame, paragraph outline. So the brainstorming will be more helpful for the children to process the big paragraph and chunk into small, and you can write it. So organize, revise, those are helpful. So you can use word bank, anchor the chart. Those are some of the tips for you can use in your teaching process. So you can handwriting instruction when needed, you can give. So typing instruction and assistive tech options maybe you can use. So you can allow the children for oral rehearsal. If before the speech they want to rehearsal, okay, let allow the children to do the rehearsal. So speech to text, reduced length writing with focus on the target skill. So this is for math. This is concrete representational abstract. We call it as CRA. There is some concrete manipulatives you have to build. The counters. In Montessori, there is a base 10 blocks. You have to made a 10 blocks and 100 blocks, 50 blocks. So you can give the basic number identification with the numbers, with number lines, arrays, bar models. So before you going to the abstracting, you give something with the life, they can touch and feel it, and they learn it, what is calculation, counting, and you can take the children to the abstract book things. Okay, so abstract symbols are equations, problems, formulas, algorithm. The explicit strategy instruction for word problems. So word problems, there are a lot of mnemonics are available. You can use those mnemonics for the children to how to solve the word problem. And fluency building without shame. So short daily practice, error analysis, and you can give some optional timing for them to do it. And visual supports, you can anchor charts for steps, and you can give some worked examples, and color coding or caterpillar concept for place value. So these are accommodations and modification. Usually it's based on the government, the accommodations are given to children. Those who are having dyslexic or dysgraphia, our school is giving some concessions for the children writing in examination, scoring marks, and about the question paper setting, everything. There is a targeted instructions with accommodations. The child can excel in the education. Remedial teaching. Remedial teaching is an important part for an SLD. I think you are already doing the remedial teaching for the slow learners or average learners. The same would be applicable for the SLD too. So you can identify the children from that slow learners, those who are having SLD. So you can start this remedial teaching to the children after the school hours, or during only the math and English period. You can retrieve the children from that period. With the techniques and the tips, you can teach math and English alone. If the child can excel in English, automatically he can score in another subjects also. So basically for remedial, you can take English and also math. So these are some of the common signs of learning disability in children. What we have come across, those are in simple, colorful comic way. So they have delayed speech development, trouble following directions, reading and writing, and poor phonics, difficulty with math skills, and poor memory. Fine motor skill is too low, that is the handwriting. Trouble in paying attention, the attention span is too low. They'll always talking and chatting during the class if you're taking lesson. Poor organization and time management, they'll always come late, and the book and the notebook proper management is missing. Avoidance of reading, writing, and math, they usually tell having stomach pain, fever, not well, everything to avoid those things. And difficulty in understanding abstract concepts at textbooks, and inconsistency in school performance. These are the some common signs of learning disability in children. So why some students don't learn at the same speed? Because these are the conditions. The children couldn't cope up with the other children at the same speed. So you have to understand there is a learning difficulty in the classroom, and scientifically they have named it for every difficulty. Those conditions can't cure, but we have to adapt those conditions, living with this condition with small help and support with the trained teachers and special educators. So there are a lot of things we can deliver during visual. The SLD, in SLD there are three types. There are visual learners are more good and everything in visual. Through visual they can learn. So the kinesthetic, they want movement, touch, and actions to learn anything. And auditory learners learn best by listening. That's why we are teaching for the KG children in rhymes. The alphabetics as a rhymes, as a song. So movements also we are giving. So there are three kinds learner, that is visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. So everyone learn different. Try to identify the learning style, then adapt your student material accordingly. Thank you. And this is the big umbrella of learning disabilities. Though these are the conditions comes under the same umbrella of SLD. For your information, I'm just posting it. I hope you understand the concept. Thank you, Janaka sir and Rashmi ma'am, for giving this opportunity to explain about SLD to the teachers.
We got so much knowledge at that international platform, which Mr. Kamal Goda, he's offering to the educators. And I feel that more and more educators should come and be audiences, and sometimes they should become the speaker also. So I want to thank Nathia Madam for today's learning for us. I have learned a lot, and I will like to know more about this wonderful topic where we can help the disability with the students with the disabilities.
Yes.
So that's why lot of thanks. And I thank the audience also that they were listening, and the audience which those who will be watching this video, so they should give likes to it because it is so wonderfully handled by Nathia. And in future also, I request Mr. Kamal Goda that more we like to learn on that topic. Thank you very much.